All right, here we go. Doing this right before the start of the Thursday night game, which I think doesn't give me the best spot to get predictions, but I'm just going to man up and do better this week. First, let's do stud of the week from last week. Sorry, eyelash. Stud of the week from last week. I give it to myself. A lot of hate when I drafted Le'Veon Bell, but I'm sure you wish you had him now. Looked very solid. Dud of the week. Everyone hates Ray Rice, and I think it's for a good reason. So, Ben, you shouldn't have drafted him because now we hate you. Get better character on your team, Ben. Let's go to this week. Ben, you asked me to pick my pick between the Steelers and the Ravens. Easy. I think the Ravens gonna. I think they have a disaster going on. I think this game is a disaster. Thursday night games are a disaster, and all that good stuff. But the Steelers only play a half. That's kind of their rep this year so far. So I think the Ravens play at least 3/4 and win by 6. All right, first game goes to Blunt Force Trauma versus Kenosha Kickers. I like your logo there. Enjoyable. Jay Cutler, I think, has bounced back. He plays 12 good games a year, so I think this week's going to be one of them against San Francisco. And DeMarco Murray, healthy. I like him when he's healthy. Said that last week. So those are my picks and why I like your team. Brandon Cooks looks solid as well. Good flex. Ben, I like Demaryius Thomas, but then you're throwing the ball in the end zone. Don't think Foles is going to take the league by storm this year. And I think you got a lot of guys that get you about 10 points to 15. Not winning right now. Somebody needs to step up. Next game, the Febreze. I like it. Good job, Andy, in Omaha. They have this projected to be really high scoring. I think that it could be. Peyton Manning always puts you in that category. Emmanuel Sanders needs to get touchdowns, no, just not receptions if you want to get continual high scoring. And Golden Tate looked pretty solid. I like your team, but I think you're going to get upset by Andy this week. Andy's going to go to 2-0 because Drew Brees against the Browns, they also only play half of football, so in one half he's going to get a lot of yards. And I really like Forte, I do. And Cordell Patterson looks like the Percy Harvin of Minnesota now, so I think he's solid. Kiss My Boo Boo Taters. I enjoy the name from the hate. Enjoy the injury. I want him back, though, because I do think he's our best running back. And Staph Infection. Supposedly Stafford lost a lot of weight. That's what they're saying. And he looked good. I'm not talking physically. I'm talking how he played the game. He looked good. So that's a big positive for you. Cam Newton, I'm not sold on who he's throwing to and that he's healthy. So Stafford wins that battle, and I like Terrence West for you, Heiser, but I don't think I think last week was more about the Steelers' defense than it was about his talent. So, not a huge fan of that. Julius Thomas, 3 touchdowns, not going to happen again, but I think you're going to get the win. Staph infection because of Stafford, because of Nelson, and Reggie Wayne is probably one of the best flexes in the game. So good job getting him as your third best. All right, next game, putting a spring on y'all versus TD Grahams. It's very surprising to me that I'm playing someone with Jake Locker as their quarterback, and they are projected totally higher than me. But I am picking myself. Here's why. Andrew Luck, top 4 quarterback by the end of the year, and he proved it so far in week 1. Eddie Lacy will have a bounce back. Bell is about to tear up, and Jimmy Graham. The Browns aren't very good at guarding tight ends. Right now, they got to prove that, and Jimmy Graham is a wide receiver in a tight end body. Des Bryant looks good. I like him for you, and I obviously like McCoy, but that's it. I also don't think Vernon Davis is consistent every single week right now. Could be wrong. That's how I feel. That's why you lose. Next, Monty Pythons versus Megatronic Boom. Tyler, you're projected to get 107 points. That's kind of embarrassing, and you got to think AJ Green's at least getting 30 of them himself. So your team kind of reminds me of Ben. A lot of guys that could get you decent points, but you need someone to step it up. Until then, I have a hard time picking you, especially because Deshaun Jackson needs to be throwing the ball deep, and they are not throwing it to him deep. Not a huge Russell Wilson fan, but I think he gets you points. But I do like Calvin Johnson, who doesn't. But I think you have the pickup of the week in Martavius Bennett, and it's still one of my favorite draft picks with Vereen. So I like them. Good job. Last, Lynch NATO 2 versus Marshawn. Wagner, 2 reasons that you're losing this week. Number 1, your team name is the running back on the team you're playing against. So get a new name when you don't have Marshawn Lynch on your team. Secondly, I really like Matt Ryan. He looked really good, like he's elevating his game. And Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown seem to be the only offense the Steelers have. and they get them the ball frequently. That's what they stopped doing in the second half last week. So when they get back to that tonight against the Ravens, I think they'll have a lot of points for those two. I mean, I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Fred Jackson. For you, those are good picks. But I just don't think you're going to do nearly as well as them. So that's my picks for the week. Good luck out there. Hopefully we'll get better NFL news this week. Kind of tired of hearing about that. And next week I'm going to be the start of the week again. I give some credit to my brother Tyler. It was his idea to draft Josh Gordon, and I'm glad I did because he might be the best flex when I put him into my lineup next week when he's back. Hopefully. All right, see you.